From the banks of the Colorado River in Lake Mead to the homes and businesses in Southern Nevada, welcome to Water Smarts, the podcast pumping from the heart of Las Vegas, where we engage with the experts who keep the water flowing throughout Southern Nevada. I'm Bronson Mack.
And I'm Zuelke. From how we treat it, deliver it, use it, protect it, and conserve it, the Water Smarts podcast is all about water in Southern Nevada. We hope to make you a little smarter about the one thing that keeps us all connected: water.
Hey, Crystal, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Just enjoying this finally spring weather, and yeah,
it's getting warmer.
I can't believe I'm going to say it. Can't believe as we're recording this, it's April.
It is April. The year just flies right on by. But it is getting warmer. We are really in that spring season, and it is springtime as well as fall when we see volunteers come out to the Las Vegas Wash to help revegetate areas of the wash, which is really just so important to just the ecology of the wash and all the great things that happen there at the Las Vegas Wash.
Yeah, and the Las Vegas Wash serves as a really important water channel and connection with our community as far as how wastewater gets to Lake Mead eventually.
Totally.
So it flows to the wash. It's treated by the Clark County Water Reclamation District. Then the water is put back out into Lake Mead. And then when it's drawn back out, it's cleaned again by SNWA. So the wash is like a really important water channel here in Southern Nevada.
Yeah, it really is. It's like an urban river. It's out there near the Silver Bowl, the Clark County Wetlands Park. If anybody would like to pay it a visit, you can certainly go to the Las Vegas Wash. There's trails, there's mountain biking. You can even take your horses out to the wash with the equestrian trails. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about what goes into the wash, because today, joining us to talk about the important role of that water recycling and that water reuse that is so critical to our community, we've got Michael Phillips from the Clark County Water Reclamation District. Michael, thank you for joining us here on the Water Smarts podcast.
Thank you, Bronson and Crystal. This is a great opportunity for us to tell you a little bit about what we do at the Water Reclamation District.
And you do a lot of important work at the Water Reclamation District. And a lot of people don't really think about, number one, where their tap water comes from. This is something that we experience. And so we're constantly educating the community about the importance of Lake Mead and the water resources that we have. But the flip side to that is that the public doesn't really think about where their water goes once it goes down the drain at their home or at their business. And they probably don't realize the important role that the Water Reclamation District plays in protecting our water supply and our overall watershed. So let's start there. Would you give our listeners just a brief description about what the Water Reclamation District does and some of the important role that you play in our community's overall water cycle?
Well, as you stated, we're all in this together. The water cycle revolves a lot of different aspects. And simply put, we recycle the water so it can go back into Lake Mead. And we treat over 108 million gallons of water each day. And we serve over 265,000 residential and commercial accounts. We serve all of unincorporated Clark County, as well as operate treatment facilities in Laughlin, Searchlight, Moapa Valley, Blue Diamond, and Indian Springs. As you said, we're kind of the silent utility. Most people don't really think about it after they flush the toilet or something goes down the drain where it goes. And our community is different, that we rely on return flow credits and getting water credits from what we have returned into the lake. And our allocation of water is less than we utilize. We had about 300,000 acre feet of water allocated to us. And the simple fact is we took more than that amount of water out of the river to supply our homes and businesses. But the great thing is, with our recycling program and by recycling all the wastewater, we returned over 250,000 acre feet of water back into the wash and back into the lake. And so our consumptive use is under the amount of water that we're allocated. And again, we can only survive as a community if we're all working together in this water cycle.
Yeah, you raise a really good point, Michael. I mean, we're able to divert more water out of Lake Mead than we're actually allocated. You referenced that 300,000 acre foot allocation. It's been reduced a little bit due to the shortage conditions we've seen on the river. We divert about 500,000 acre feet of water out of Lake Mead. But because of that return flow, that recycling that the Clark County Water Reclamation District does to treat that wastewater and return it back to Lake Mead, we actually get credit. Every gallon that we put back in Lake Mead allows us to take another gallon out, and that keeps us below our allocation for the water that we consume. And that is a huge element in how we balance our water supplies with our water demands in this community.
Correct. And as you said, when it goes down the drain, we have the benefit of being able to recycle it and return it back to the wash. And our treatment facility uses very sophisticated efforts to treat the water to a very high level. And along with the natural filters of the Las Vegas wash and gravity and other elements that contribute to cleansing the water, the end product is able to go safely back into the wash and, as you said, be reused again.
And that kind of leads us into the next piece of this, which is a big key component, and that's infrastructure. In Southern Nevada, we've invested in the infrastructure to recycle our wastewater, which is one of the most important and cost-effective conservation efforts we've made as a community. In fact, what makes us unique here is that we're one of the only areas in the world that recycles nearly 100% of the water that we do use indoors. And I can't say it enough, and I know that this is important for people to understand, is that our wastewater goes through several cleaning processes before it gets to Lake Mead. And then the water's treated again to very high standards when the Southern Nevada Water Authority draws it from the lake, sends it to its treatment plant, cleans it there, and then delivers it to homes and businesses. So, Michael, can you talk about why it's important for our community to continue to invest in wastewater infrastructure and what types of projects maybe are underway or on the horizon?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is such a large process that we go through in treating the wastewater that we are constantly trying to improve our processes, but also, simply put, wastewater is very corrosive and destructive to pipes and to equipment. So we constantly need to reinvest in maintaining that equipment. And while at times our projects may provide inconveniences to customers when we maybe have to install a line, on a busy street or repair a manhole, these projects are essential to the health and sanitation of our community. And, it's important to maintain the system. Nobody wants to have a sewer clog or a sewer break in their neighborhood. It's smelly and unsanitary, and there's other concerns. And, these investments ensure that we are meeting the community's needs and we continue to be efficient, because this process is all the more critical with every gallon and every drop that's being considered, and just the circumstances of the environment and some of the things we face. This constant investment right now in our Flamingo Water Resource Center plant, we have $1.2 billion worth of projects going on, and it really looks like a construction site. But those projects are so important to, again, continue the process and make sure that we are delivering the best product possible back to the wash to be reused. A few of those projects we're working on right now include preliminary and primary treatment improvements, which basically, is the beginning stages of the wastewater process, and making sure that we are maintaining and have the capacity to treat in the beginning stages of the treatment process. We are also working on another project for secondary treatment aeration basins and clarifiers that will actually help expand our plant capacity to over 150 million gallons per day. And then the third major project on the plant is our primary sludge thickening improvements. Basically, we have to take any particles that go into the water out, and most of that goes into sludge that is going to the landfill. And so we're constantly trying to improve the ways that we take the solids out of the water, and that's that program. Additionally, we were focusing on other projects to make sure that we have the infrastructure and the redundancy to support our other communities. In the Logandale area, we're working on a line extension that's over 8,000 square feet to provide more sanitary sewer service to the residents and commercial customers out there. Additionally, in Laughlin, we are working on upgrading a lift station that supports the resort corridor and is very essential to the community. And then at our Flamingo Water Resource Plant, we are working on an emergency power plan to help us with redundancy in the opportunity that there might be an emergency power situation that we would have to rely on generators for.
So, Michael, just talk a little bit about the Clark County Water Reclamation District facility and how does it compare with some of the other wastewater treatment facilities, either locally or, throughout the Southwest?
I'm really glad you asked that, Bronson. We're actually the largest wastewater facility on the Colorado River. And because of the importance of returning water to the lake, we serve in a unique way than most of the wastewater treatment facilities throughout the United States. And in fact, here in Southern Nevada, we're larger than the city of Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas facilities combined. And through all of that, we're doing what we can to make sure that the water that goes back into the wash is usable for all users who rely on it.
Yeah, that's a really good point because, there are different kinds of wastewater treatment processes. Some of those take that water and discharge it out to the Pacific Ocean, like many treatment facilities do, especially in Southern California. There's other processes that will just push that treated wastewater into evaporation ponds where it's lost forever. But here in Southern Nevada, we actually maximize the use of our water supply through our partnerships that we have with the Clark County Water Reclamation District, North Las Vegas, City of Henderson, the City of Las Vegas, also treating that wastewater, discharging it to the Las Vegas wash where it can safely be returned back to Lake Mead. That high quality wastewater is one of the ways that we extend our water supply and help our community be as sustainable as it is. Michael, let's talk a little bit about what can the public do to protect the system? I know you've got some great campaigns out there. Can you talk a little bit about those?
As we've discussed, we're all in this together, and we have several public outreach campaigns to try to inform the community on the importance of protecting the wastewater system. And one of the key ones is Don't Rush to Flush, which is a joint project with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, which encourages people to not flush their unwanted medicines down the toilet. In the past, that was looked at as a right way to keep prescription drugs out of the hands of pets and children, but we've learned that there are many negative ramifications by sending them into the sanitary sewer system. When you flush medication down the drain, it ends up at one of our treatment facilities, and these ingredients can remain in the treated water when it's released into the water cycle. And the presence of these substances in the environment is emerging as an important national and international issue. And so we have a program with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department where they have drop-off areas where you can drop off your drugs safely. And then, again, we don't have to worry about them being sent down the drain into the wastewater treatment facilities. For a list of those locations, you can go to paininthedrain.com and find out where a convenient place to drop those off is.
That's a great name, paininthedrain.com. And so proper disposal of medications is certainly important. Like you said, we have come to learn that, and especially because we recycle water back to our source at Lake Mead, it is best to keep those drugs out of the water cycle entirely. And so go to paininthedrain.com and you can find locations where you can drop off your unwanted medications for appropriate disposal.
And I'll just say, it's good to know that there are locations where you can drop off, but if that's not super convenient for you, there are ways that you can dispose of medication yourself. Like you can crush up everything, mix it in a baggie with coffee grounds or other garbage to just kind of safely dispose of it so it's not accessible in your garbage can for anybody to get to. So there are some methods that you can do to really break it down and get rid of it safely and in the garbage. So instead of putting it down a drain or in the toilet, I literally had to educate a friend about this at a family gathering a couple weeks ago. She was asking about that. And I was like, no, do not flush your medication. So it's good to remind people that there are other options. So Michael, what about things like eggshells or coffee grounds? I drink my coffee every day. What should I be doing with those?
Well, again, Crystal, if it goes down the drain, we need to take it out of the water. And so we encourage people to make sure that any solids they're using in kitchen use, and, we have a different definitions of grease and grit. And grit is inert material, both organic and inorganic, that is not benefited by secondary treatment or sludge processing. And so simply grit is a concern because it can reduce the effectiveness of our plant, and things like coffee grounds and rice and eggshells are really corrosive. I take my coffee filter out and just dump it in the trash, and just make sure you're ensuring that as little of those coffee grounds get into the sewer system as possible. And again, it goes with other food products. When you have the garbage disposal, you think, oh, I can easily grind up all this food and it will be taken care of down the line. Well, again, the fact of the matter is all those solids come back to us and we have to process it at some point. And so by doing your part and throwing away what you can, you're ensuring the effectiveness of the wastewater system and helping keep the costs down for everyone. In addition, the landfill is built to absorb solid particles, and so that's why we encourage everyone, if it's solid particles or something that you can extract from going down the drain, put it in the trash and, it will be properly disposed of in the landfill.
Grease is another big one. A lot of people don't know what to do with their grease after cooking. You make bacon, or around the holidays, frying a turkey is a big thing that people do. So what's a good method for people when it comes to grease?
Well, we have another campaign that we call Just Can It. What that means is we provide customers with what's called grease cans, and it's a metal can with a lid on it. And once you're done with your cooking, you can line that with paper towels or a newspaper, dump your cooking oil or grease into that can, let it cool and turn into a solid. Then just take it out of the can and throw it away. And if you want more information on how to get a grease can, you can go to our website at cleanwaterteam.com.
Yeah, I am a huge proponent at our house at keeping that grease, keeping that grit, keeping as much material out of our garbage disposal as possible. Certainly, we talk about the implications for the community's wastewater system and the challenges that kind of material causes in the system. But it's also a benefit to your home plumbing system. If you're dumping bacon grease down your garbage disposal, the first place that bacon grease is coming in contact is your home plumbing system. And it is going to begin to stick to the walls or the interior of your wastewater or your sewage pipe, your drainage pipes in your home. It will begin to choke that down. It'll reduce the flows. You're going to end up with challenges in your own plumbing system, not to mention the challenges in the community's wastewater system. So you have a direct benefit by making sure that you're taking that material, putting that material in the trash, scraping those food scraps into the trash rather than going down the garbage disposal. That is a huge benefit. There's also one more program that you have, the program with regards to wipes. We know that more adults are using wipes when they use the restroom. These have historically been used by babies with baby diapers. And of course, those wipes didn't usually end up in our wastewater streams. But now we see these wipes that are out there. They are marketed as being flushable, but I'm not so sure that some of them are actually flushable. Can you just talk a little bit about that other program that you have there, Michael?
That program is called Wipes Clog Pipes. And as you mentioned, there's marketing and promotion out there that there's flushable wipes. And, many of us have used these and seen these around our homes. But while they're convenient, flushable wipes simply do not break down as advertised and must be removed from wastewater prior to major treatment processes. Most contain non-biodegradable polyester fibers and other materials that just don't break down like they said. As part of an experiment, we took 2 glass jars and we put a piece of toilet paper in one and filled it with water, grabbed another glass jar, put a flushable wipe in it, filled it with water, and we let those sit and try to determine, how fast they break down. Well, the toilet paper started to break down within a matter of days. Here we are years later since they put the flushable wipe into the jar, and it still remains almost completely intact. That just means that somewhere down the sewer line, we're going to have to take those wipes out of the system, And that's costly. It costs a lot. It uses a lot of equipment and labor. And in addition to what you were touching on, Bronson, with the fats, oils, and grease and grit, flushable wipes can cause a lot of damage to your home, in your pipes, and even getting stuck in the sewer line that goes out to the street. And so we ask that people take another look at their use of these wipes and ensure that they're throwing them away instead of putting them down the drain.
So trying to minimize the type of material going into the drains, going into the sewer system, best to keep that material just what it should be, keeping food scraps, oils, wipes out of the plumbing system. That's a benefit to you in protecting your home plumbing system. It's also a benefit to the Clark County Water Reclamation District and the other wastewater providers throughout Southern Nevada that have to maintain that underground infrastructure to convey all of our wastewater to the appropriate treatment plants, then treating that water to a very high standard before it is returned back to Lake Mead. That protects the system. That protects our water supply over the long term. Michael Phillips with the Clark County Water Reclamation District, thank you so much for joining us here on Water Smarts and talking a little bit about the important role that wastewater plays in our community's water cycle.
Thank you. It's been such a great opportunity, and we're really grateful to work with SNWA and our other community partners in ensuring that we can sustain our way of life here in Southern Nevada.
Well, Crystal, it's so silly. I do like talking about wastewater, even though it's, I think for most people, it's got an ick factor to it.
Sure.
No one wants to think about sewage, but it's amazing the treatment and the technology that is used in order to really take all of that biological material that we all contribute to our wastewater every single day. They're able to treat that, remove that from the water, and really purify the water and clean it so that it can safely be returned back to the lake. It really is an incredible process.
Yeah, I agree. I know some people, I think it's more fascinating than anything for people to think everything that leaves my house ends up back to me. But just reminding people how much the process of cleaning and treating the water, in order for it to be safely delivered back to the community is important. And look, we've been doing this for a really long time and we've got that down. And there are places now or other communities that are starting to treat wastewater and use it to make, I think I saw beer somewhere.
Absolutely.
It is such a thing now. And it's finally everywhere else is catching on. We've been doing it for a long time here.
We've been doing it for a long time. And we do stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, those who really developed this community throughout the mid 1900s, 1950s and what have you. Some of the benefit that we have here, Las Vegas is shaped like a bowl. It's a valley, right? So all of our wastewater treatment facilities are down at the bottom of the bowl. That's also where the Las Vegas Wash is, that final link between our community's watershed here and Lake Mead. And everything just gravity feeds downhill through the wastewater system. There are some areas where they do have to pump. They have to lift that wastewater up in elevation a little bit to get it to continue flowing downhill. And it's a lot of that pumping infrastructure that can be challenged by the wipes that end up in the system or any kind of foreign material that ends up in the system. So scraping those food scraps into the trash, making sure that you're safely disposing of your grease. I like to keep a jar at the house. I generally will fill up a jar with the bacon grease and then just take that jar and just put it right into the trash can. Off it goes to the landfill, stays out of the wastewater system, protects my home pipes, and keeps everything flowing just like it should. Well, that's it for this episode here on Water Smarts. We hope you subscribe and join us next time. And if you like the show, feel free to give us a rating. You hear it all the time. Rate and review, rate and review. Well, we're asking you to rate and review. It does help get this information out to other people in Southern Nevada so that they can also be water smart. And if you'd like some more information on water conservation, water quality, or even new technologies and all the things you need to know to be water smart, you can find that information on our website at snwa.com. That's snwa.com. And for more information about the Clark County Water Reclamation District, you can find their website at cleanwaterteam.com. That's cleanwaterteam.com. Thanks for listening, and we hope you join us here next time on Water Smarts.
Attention businesses and HOAs. Break up with your high-maintenance, water-thirsty grass. Nevada law requires the removal of purely decorative grass by the end of 2026. Get cash incentives while they're still available to help pay for your landscape upgrade. Learn more at snwa.com.